take in the wrong information and actually be dissuaded from Krishna. So devotees become upset when they see that people are suffering due to lack of knowledge. Prabhupada, in his prayers on the Jaladuta, was lamenting the fact that people were affected by the modes of passion and ignorance, and knew that he was bringing medicine. And he took it upon himself to distribute the medicine, and he was at every moment experiencing a sense of urgency to do that, because he knew that they had to get it, otherwise they would fall back down again and miss the human form of life. Kurunath Prabhu?
Yeah, I was going to respond that we can both be surprised that people are taking to Krishna consciousness and or be surprised that they're not taking it. And I want to give some examples that when Srila Prabhupada returned to India with his Western devotees, a lot of people were very surprised that in fact, some of his godbrothers, there was a prediction that people all over the world would become devotees of Lord Chaitanya, but people started to think, oh, maybe that was just, like a poetic exaggeration or something, wouldn't really happen. And there was one time when one of the former sannyasis, who was a big leader in Krishna consciousness movement, fell away, and he visited the temple in San Francisco, I think, and Prabhupada said, please come stay. He had long hair and he was riding a motorcycle, and he said, no, Srila Prabhupada, I'm happy. I have my very nice life now outside of the temple. So then one of the lady devotees told Srila Prabhupada, it's so amazing that such a big leader could fall down into such ignorance. And Srila Prabhupada said, no, the real amazing thing is that any of you are staying. But then I was thinking, on the other hand, that when the Yaksha asked King Yudhishthira what the most amazing thing in the world was, he said, everybody's dying, everybody sees that everybody's dying, that everybody's grandfather has died, his father has died, and so forth, but they go on living as if they're not going to die. They're thinking that they don't think about it. So.
Thank you. Nice points. Prabhupada also said big devotee doesn't go away. He said, why are big devotees going away? Prabhupada said, a big devotee doesn't go away. The ones who stay are big devotees, actually. So both ways you can see. Yes. Preeti Sandarbha.
I like the point you made about finding no optimism to find happiness in this material world.
Yes.
And I also liked when we were reading from Krishna Lila Stava, it said about theistic conduct and perseverance.
Yes, perseverance in practice. Theistic conduct and persevere in practice by slow degrees. No more charm for the devotee in the material world, except for the opportunities to spread Krishna consciousness. Devotee sees the world, like Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur says, he sees even the material world as the abode of joy, because it's an opportunity to engage in Krishna's service. Please.
When we are reading purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 2.8.5, so I found this very interesting actually. So Prabhupada compares devotional service and other methods like mystic yoga, where he says a small quantity of water can be cleansed temporarily, and just only one person can be cleansed. But by a small hesitation, the dirt comes back again. Whereas devotional service cleanses it permanently, and he also says not just one person, but a pure devotee can actually cleanse millions of people.
Purify the whole world, yes. This samsaradavanada lila loka tranaya karunya kanakanatvam praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya vande guroshi charanadavindam. This mentions that the material world is like a forest fire, and in order for a forest fire to be extinguished, there needs to be a natural event that takes place, like big rains come, and then they can extinguish the forest fire. Otherwise, the firefighters can pull a little bit of water out of the river and try to dump it on the fire here and there. But if the winds are high and the temperature is hot, then it's impossible to put out. So in a similar way, the pure devotee, because he or she is following the orders of Krishna and of his or her spiritual master and becomes a channel for Krishna's mercy, that person can then benedict the world by being an instrument of Krishna's mercy. Yes, Govinda. Hey, Govinda.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So on this point, Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.15.
6.1.15. Coming up.
So Kechit Kevala Bhaktya Vasudev Parayanaha Agam Dhunvanti Karsneya Niharam Eva Bhaskaraha. So just like fog clears, when the sun comes, the fog gets cleared. So just like that, one who has devotional service can uproot the weeds of sinful actions.
Yes, let's say the verse, it's an important verse. Move it up. Kechit kevalaya bhaktya Vasudeva parayanaha Akam dunvanti kartsnyena Niharam iva bhaskaraha. Translation: only a rare person who has adopted complete unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful action with no possibility that they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. Purport: in the previous verse, Shukadeva Goswami gave the example that the dried leaves of creepers beneath a bamboo tree may be completely burnt to ashes by a fire, although the creepers may sprout again because the root is still in the ground. Similarly, because the root of sinful desire is not destroyed in the heart of a person who is cultivating knowledge, but who has no taste for devotional service, there is a possibility that his sinful desires will reappear. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.4, Shreya Shrutim Bhakti Mudasyate Vibho, Klishyantiye Kevala Bodha Labdaye. Speculators who undergo great labor to gain a meticulous understanding of the material world by distinguishing between sinful and pious activities, but who are not situated in devotional service, are prone to material activities. They may fall down and become implicated in fruitive activities. If one becomes attached to devotional service, however, his desires for material enjoyment are automatically vanquished without separate endeavor. Bhakti parishanu bhavu viraktananyatra. If one is advanced in Krishna consciousness, material activities, both sinful and pious, automatically become distasteful to him. That is the test of Krishna consciousness. Both pious and impious activities are actually due to ignorance, because a living entity, as an eternal servant of Krishna, has no need to act for his personal sense gratification. Therefore, as soon as one is reclaimed to the platform of devotional service, he relinquishes his attachment for pious and impious activities and is interested only in what will satisfy Krishna. This process of bhakti, devotional service to Krishna, Vasudeva Parayana, relieves one from the reactions of all activities. Since Maharaj Parikshit was a great devotee, the answers of his guru, Shukadeva Goswami, concerning Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda could not satisfy him. Therefore, Shukadeva Goswami, knowing very well the heart of his disciple, explained the transcendental bliss of devotional service. The word kechit, which is used in this verse, means a few people but not all. Not everyone can become Krishna conscious. As Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatfataha. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Practically no one understands Krishna as he is, for Krishna cannot be understood through pious activities or attainment of the most elevated speculative knowledge. Actually, the highest knowledge consists of understanding Krishna. Unintelligent men who do not understand Krishna are grossly puffed up, thinking that they are liberated or have themselves become Krishna or Narayan. This is ignorance. To indicate the purity of bhakti, devotional service, Srila Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11, Anya bilashita shunyam Yana karmanya navritam anakulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktirutama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain, through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. Srila Rupa Goswami further explains that bhakti is kleshagni shubhada, which means that if one takes to devotional service, all kinds of unnecessary labor and material distress cease entirely, and one achieves all good fortune. Bhakti is so powerful that it is also said to be moksha lagatakrit. In other words, lagutakrit. In other words, it minimizes the importance of liberation. Non-devotees must undergo material hardships because they are prone to commit sinful fruitive activities. The desire to commit sinful actions continues in their hearts due to ignorance. These sinful actions are divided into 3 categories: pataka, mahapataka, and atipataka, and also into 2 divisions: prarabdha and aprarabdha. Prarabdha refers to sinful reactions from which one is suffering at the present, and aprarabdha refers to sources of potential suffering. When the seeds, bija, of sinful reactions have not yet fructified, the reactions are called aprarabdha. These seeds of sinful activities are unseen, but they are unlimited, and no one can trace when they were first planted. That's a little annoying or troubling. Because of prarabdha, sinful reactions that have already fructified, one is seen to have taken birth in a lowly family or to be suffering from other miseries. When one takes to devotional service, however, all phases of sinful life, including prarabdha, aprarabdha, and bija, are vanquished. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11.14.19, Lord Krishna tells Uddhava, Yatagni sambrita charchi karot yedham si bhasmasat tatad mad vishaya bhaktir uddhavainam si krichnashaha. My dear Uddhava, devotional service in relationship with me is like a blazing fire that can burn to ashes all the fuel of sinful activities supplied to it. How devotional service vanquishes the reactions of sinful life is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 3:33-6 in a verse spoken during Lord Kapiladev's instructions to his mother, Devahuti. Devahuti said, Yanamadeha Shravananu Kirtanad Yet Pravanad Yet Smaradad Apikuchit Shado Pisadya Savanaya Kalpate Kutak Punaste Bhagavan Nudarshanad. My dear Lord, even if a person born in a family of dog-eaters hears and repeats the chanting of your glories, offers respect to you and remembers you, he is immediately greater than a brahmana and is therefore eligible to perform sacrifices. Therefore, what is to be said of one who has seen you directly? Govinda, you had a point? Question, yes?
Maharaj, in the translation, Prabhupada says that through bhakti, the prarabdha reactions are also vanquished. I heard one Leela of Jagannath in which he had to take prarabdha karma of one of his devotees and he became sick. Actually, his devotee was very sick. I'm not sure exactly what was the name of the devotee, but I heard it from the devotee that he was very sick and he told Jagannath that please relieve me of the sufferings. But Jagannath said, no, you have to go through the suffering because it's a prarabdha karma. So he said, so ultimately Jagannath took his suffering and he became sick. I think it's,
yeah, well,
how do we reconcile
that's
that?
Krishna's Leela. He doesn't become sick, but out of affection he can take. Just like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu liberated Jagai and Madai, he took on all their sinful activities. Advaita Acharya, Haridas, and all the devotees were there. And they observed when this happened. And Mahaprabhu said, how do I look? Advaita Acharya said, you look like Krishna. Because he turned black, taking on those sinful activities. But that's his Leela. But this verse that Prabhupada just quoted Yanamadeha Shravanadu Kirtanad Yat Smaranad Yat Pravanad Api Kuchit Swadho Pisadya Savanaya Kalpate Kutakpunas Te Bhagavanu Darshanat. This is there are two verses together, and the second one says a similar thing. Aho bata shapachato garyanya jiva gre vartate namatubhyam te pustapaste juvusasna arya brahmanatru nama granantiye te. And these verses verify that because the holy name is all powerful, Krishna and his holy name are the same, and Krishna is all powerful, so is his holy name. The holy name can vanquish even the prarabdha karma of a living entity, of a conditioned soul. Even the prarabdha karma can be nullified. This comes in these two verses. In fact, if you'll turn to those, it's worth seeing these because they're very much to the point. Please go to Yanamadeha Shravanadu Kirtana. Number is what? 333.6. Carvin's on a roll. Okay, so let's read the translation and purport. I recited it. To say nothing of the spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Person face to face, even a person born in a family of dog-eaters immediately becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he at once utters the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or chants about him, hears about his pastimes, offers him obeisances, or even remembers him. Is everybody happy? Purport. You're going to be even happier when you hear this. Herein, the spiritual potency of chanting, hearing, or remembering the holy name of the Supreme Lord is greatly stressed. Rupa Goswami has discussed the sequence of sinful activities of the conditioned soul, and he has established in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that those who engage in devotional service become freed from the reactions of all sinful activities. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. The Lord says that he takes charge of one who surrenders unto him, and he makes him immune to all reactions to sinful activities. Immune. If by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one becomes so swiftly cleared of all reactions to sinful activities, then what is to be said of those persons who see him face to face? Another consideration here is that persons who are purified by the process of chanting and hearing become immediately eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices. Generally, only a person who is born in a family of brahmanas, who has been reformed by the 10 kinds of purificatory processes, and who is learned in Vedic literature, is allowed to perform the Vedic sacrifices. But here the word sadhyaha, immediately, is used. And Sridhar Swami also remarks that one can immediately become eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices. A person born in a family of the low caste, which is accustomed to eat dogs, is so positioned due to his past sinful activities. But by chanting or hearing once in pureness, or in an offenseless matter, he is immediately relieved of the sinful reaction. Not only is he relieved of the sinful reaction, but he immediately achieves the result of all purificatory processes. Taking birth in the family of a brahmana is certainly due to pious activities in one's past life, but still a child who is born in a family of a brahmana depends for his further reformation upon initiation into acceptance of a sacred thread and many other reformatory processes. But a person who chants the holy name of the Lord, even if born in a family of chandalas, dog-eaters, does not need reformation. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, he immediately becomes purified and becomes as good as the most learned brahmana. And anyone who slams that door gets a full set of Bhagavatams. If your cell phone goes off, you can buy one Krishna book, $10. If the door slams, and if it's your kid, and we can trace out whose kid it was who slams the door, then the parent has to buy a set of Bhagavatams. Don't tell anybody. Sridhar Swami especially remarks in this connection, Anena pujatvam lakshyate. Some caste brahmanas remark that by chanting Hare Krishna, purification begins. Of course, that depends on the individual process of chanting. But this remark of Sridhar Swami's is completely applicable if one chants the holy name of the Lord without offense, for he immediately becomes more than a brahmana. As Sridhar Swami says, Pujatvam, he immediately becomes as respectable as a most learned brahmana, and he can be allowed to perform Vedic sacrifices. If simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord one becomes sanctified instantly, then what can be said of those persons who see the Supreme Lord face to face and who understand the descent of the Lord, as Devahuti understands Kapiladev? Usually initiation depends on the bona fide spiritual master who directs the disciple. If he sees that a disciple has become competent and purified by the process of chanting, he offers the sacred thread to the disciple, just so that he will be recognized as 100% equal with a brahmana. This is also confirmed in the Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sri Sanatan Goswami. As a base metal like bell metal can be changed into gold by a chemical process, any person can similarly be changed into a brahmana by Diksha Vidana, the process of the initiation process. It is sometimes remarked that by the chanting process one begins to purify himself and can take birth in his next life in a brahmana family and then be reformed. But at this present moment, even those who are born in the best brahmana families are not reformed, nor is there any certainty that they are actually born of brahmana fathers. Formerly, the Garbhadhan reformatory system was prevalent, but at the present moment, there is no such Garbhadana, or seed-giving ceremony. Under these circumstances, no one knows if a man is factually born of a brahmana father. Whether one has acquired the qualification of a brahmana depends on the judgment of the bona fide spiritual master. He bestows upon the disciple the position of a brahmana by his own judgment. When one is accepted as a brahmana in the sacred thread ceremony under the Panchratrik system, then he is Dvija, twice born. That is confirmed by Sanatan Goswami, Dvijatvam Jayate. By the process of initiation by the spiritual master, a person is accepted as a brahmana in his purified state of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Then he makes further progress to become a qualified Vaishnava, which means that the Brahminical qualification is already acquired. When one chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra without offense, then according to this verse and the next one becomes purified of prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma means the karma we have now and that is manifest in this present material body. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when speaking with Sanatan Goswami and Haridas Thakur, confirmed that a devotee who takes up the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra no longer has a material body, but has instead a practitioner's body, a sadhaka deha, because the body is been surrendered to Krishna. In fact, he mentions that at the time of initiation, that the body becomes is changed. He quotes, does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, at least he gives this verse in this section, where he says, Diksha Kali Bhakta Kari Atma Samarpan, She Kali Krishna Tari Kari Atma Sam. At the time of initiation, when one fully surrenders, then one is considered, Krishna says, to be as good as myself. And also we have Rupa Goswami's Namashtakam, where he says, Yat Brahma Sakshat Krita Nishchayapi Vinashamayati Vinana Bogai Paiti Nama Spuranena Tate Prarabdha Karmeti Viroti Vedaha. He says in all the Vedas, it is said that if one takes to the process of meditation or jnana to attain the Supreme, one doesn't become freed from his prarabdha karma unless he suffers it all through this present material body. If, however, one takes the process of the pure chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then even the prarabdha karma is destroyed. by the power of the holy name. I don't know if that answered your question or not. It did? Lucky for me. Okay. And who can say where we are? Besides in a transcendental place. We read Kechit Kevalaya Bhakta. We weren't finished with that. We're part way through. This verse, Kechit Kevalaya Bhakta, Vasudeva Parayana, Aghan Dunvanti Kartsnena, Nihara Eva Bhaskara. Bhaskara means the sun. So Nihara Eva Bhaskara, just like Bhaskar comes and drives away the fog. So similarly, the holy name comes and takes away all of one's sinful propensities. And so one can become reestablished. In the Padma Purana, do you want to hear what's in the Padma Purana? Yes. I'll bet you nobody else, many other people are working in Silicon Valley, they're not going to hear about the Padma Purana. In the Padma Purana, there is a statement that persons whose hearts are always attached to the devotional service of Lord Krishna are immediately released from all the reactions of sinful life. That's all of you. You're attached to Krishna, flat out attached. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here all day on his birthday. And to all the people coming in, it's such a charming scene to see people coming in just to see Krishna. Isn't it nice? Yes. It's nice to have this vantage point of having some service here in the temple, where then you can greet such great personalities who come from, who knows where they come from? They could be coming from higher planets, for all we know. These people look like they're from higher planets. In the Padma Purana, there's a statement that persons whose hearts are always attached to devotional service to Lord Vishnu, like these people, are immediately released from all the reactions of sinful life. These reactions generally exist in 4 phases. Some of them are ready to produce results immediately. Some of them are in the form of seeds. Some are unmanifested and some are current. All such reactions are immediately nullified by devotional service. When devotional service is present in one's heart, desires to perform sinful activities have no place there. Sinful life is due to ignorance, which means forgetfulness of one's constitutional position as an eternal servant of God. But when one is fully conscious, he realizes that he is God's eternal servant. In this regard, Srila Jiva Goswami comments that bhakti may be divided into 2 divisions. Santata, devotional service that continues incessantly with faith and love, and 2, kadachitki, devotional service that does not continue incessantly but is sometimes awakened. Incessantly flowing devotional service, santata, may also be divided into 2 categories. 1, service performed with slight attachment, and 2, spontaneous devotional service. Intermittent devotional service, kadachitki, may be divided into 3 categories. Raga bhasamayi, devotional service in which one is almost attached. 2, raga bhasa shunya swarup bhuta, devotional service in which there is no spontaneous love, but one likes the constitutional position of serving. And 3, abhasa rupa, a slight glimpse of devotional service. As for atonement, if one has caught even a slight glimpse of devotional service, all needs to undergo prayashchitta, atonement, are superseded. Therefore, atonement is certainly unnecessary when one has achieved spontaneous love, and above that, attachment with love, which are signs of increasing attachment in kadachitki, of increasing advancement in kadachitki. Even in the stage of abhasa rupa bhakti, all the reactions of sinful life are uprooted and vanquished. Srila Jiva Goswami expresses the opinion that the word kartsnyena means that even if one has a desire to commit sinful actions, the roots of that desire are vanquished merely by abhasa rupa bhakti. The example of Bhaskar, the sun, is most appropriate. The abhasa feature of bhakti is compared to dawn, and the accumulation of one's sinful activities is compared to fog. Since fog does not spread throughout the sky, the sun need do no more than merely manifest its first rays. and the fog immediately disappears. Similarly, if one has even a slight relationship with devotional service, all the fog of his sinful life is immediately vanquished. Hare Krishna. Now that brings us to an important section of the Bhagavatam that we were just looking at, and that is the advent of Lord Krishna. So we really got started in all this because we were reading from verse 10:1-7. And at the end of the purport, Prabhupada writes, "This is the glory of Krishna consciousness. Considering this, who will not take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna? Krishna is described in this verse as Maya Manusha because he descends exactly like a human being. He is not obliged to come here like karmis or ordinary living beings. Rather, he appears by his own internal energies. Sambhavami Atma Maya." Do you remember that? We were all here together when we did that. "Just to show favor to the fallen conditioned souls. Krishna is always situated in his original position as Sakchidananda Vigraha, and anyone who renders service to him is also situated in his original spiritual identity. Swarupena Vyavastiti. This is the highest perfection of human life." Kurnath, did you give as much commentary as you wanted to on that Swarupena Vyavastiti verse? He looks like he's got a little more in him. You better give him the microphone. You got to squeeze him.
No, I'm okay.
We know you're okay, but you can always be better. Give him a mic quick, please, and within 7 seconds or less. Thank you.
Well, it was amazing that about not just the power of Krishna, because we know he's all powerful, but the power of his devotees, that he has empowered devotees that can purify. And that's the verse that right? We were.
Yeah. In fact, Prabhupada mentions in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that even a neophyte who believes that Krishna and his name are the same has the potency to spread Krishna consciousness around the world. In fact, more accurately, he says, even a neophyte who believes that Krishna and his name are the same has the potency to turn others into Vaishnavas. And you can see that has happened. And as you're mentioning, he has the power to, Krishna has the power to empower his servants to spread Krishna consciousness, and his servants have the power to inspire even neophytes to spread Krishna consciousness. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I remember Giriraj Maharaj the other day was speaking about how, or maybe it was you in the booth, how you can see a blacksmith when they put a black iron in the fire and stoke the fire and everything, that it becomes red hot, it becomes like fire, it becomes the color of fire, and it acts like fire. If you touch it to something, it starts burning. And this is the nature of thinking about, talking about, hearing about, or somehow or another being in contact with Krishna, that we become Krishna-like, we become spiritualized. And so just like Krishna has a transcendental body that never deteriorates, never decays, so in the purport to that verse, Swarupena Vyavastiti, there was a beautiful phrase where it said that Krishna sits upon the lotus of the devotee's relationship with him. And
that's actually from Pravishta Karna Randrina. Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking of the wrong one.
That's all right.
But it's still a remarkable thing that how Krishna sits in the heart, like we say all the time, Shrinvatang Sukata Krishna, by hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam with attention, that Krishna actually purifies the heart of all the contaminations, and then one can become situated in goodness and become completely happy, and then one can understand Krishna scientifically, like face to face. One can understand all about Krishna, and the knot in the heart is pierced, and all misgivings are destroyed, vanquished, and
you mentioned the transcendental position of Krishna, and then we reviewed it several times. Ajopya san avyayatma, correct?
yes.
He's aja. He's not.
He's unborn.
He's unborn. Similarly, living entities are also unborn, and they have. Ultimately, we have nothing to do with the material world at all. asango hyayam purushaha. We have no real connection to the material world, but because of my attachment to the material energy, I become implicated. And because of losing my awareness of Krishna as my sustainer, then I easily succumb to the power of the influence of the material energy.
I was thinking about the prayers of Queen Kunti, which there's one shloka where Queen Kunti talks about the reason that Krishna appears.
Yes.
And he says that some people say that you appear to relieve the earth of the suffering from the demons, and some people say you appear to glorify the family of King Yudhishthira. Some people say that you appear in the Yadu dynasty just to magnify the glory of King Yadu. Just like she says that like sandalwood appears in the Malayan hills, that the Malayan hills become famous as the place where these trees grow, even though trees can grow anywhere. But because a lot of the trees grow in the Malayan hills, then the people talk about Malayan sandalwood. Or if the sun appears on the eastern horizon, you can think, oh, the sun of the east has appeared. But actually, it's the eternal sun who's not beholden to any particular place. And similarly, Krishna, he's not, he appears by his own will. He's not forced. Srila Prabhupada gave the example that sometimes the governor will come into the prison to inspect the prison, and it's not like he's been forced there by the stringent laws of the police and the judiciary and everything to be, condemned to stay in a cell, but he's just coming and visiting. And similarly, Krishna like that, he's not being born the way we're born based on our past karma and being forced by the laws of nature. Nothing is forcing him, but by his own will, Atma Maya, he's appearing, and he although he appears to be like a member of a certain family, or he chooses to glorify some family by appearing in that family, even though that he's beyond all designations.
What is the benefit for one who understands that? That meaning that Krishna is transcendental, and that even though he appears in this world, he's unaffected by the modes of material nature like other living entities.
That's answered in verse 4:9, where Krishna says...
you know the verse? Yeah, give her the mic.
Janma karma chame divyam yo veti tattvavedata bhaktajeham punarjanma naiti mameti Arjuna. So Arjuna,
Translation.
One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activity does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attain my eternal abode, O Arjuna.
Okay. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So we've been discussing how Krishna kindly appears in this world in his transcendental body, performs his activities like no other. And Maharaj, when he was here earlier, had mentioned that it's amazing to him how people, even after hearing about Krishna, cannot identify him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead or refuse to do so. However, the process of Krishna consciousness is so simple. If one simply hears about Krishna and then by the association of pure-hearted devotees comes to acknowledge that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead and just appreciates the transcendental nature of his appearance and activities, you become liberated. You're no longer obligated to take birth in the material world. Now, I'm about to read you a purport that will change your life forever. And this purport is so profound that it will fulfill the entire purpose of your life, and certainly of your coming here today to ISKCON of Silicon Valley. And if you wish not to experience such fulfillment or be astounded in any way, then we recommend that you step out just for a minute to one of the rooms that doesn't have any sound from the temple room. There's none? You sure? Even outside? Okay, then you have to go around the block. Go down to 7-Eleven and inside and have them turn up the music so you don't hear this, if you don't wish to be astounded and transformed. Okay? Everybody staying? Yes. Okay, here goes. The Lord's descent from his transcendental abode is already explained in the 6th verse. One who can understand the truth of the appearance of the personality of Godhead is already liberated from material bondage, and therefore he returns to the kingdom of God immediately after quitting this present material body. Such liberation of the living entity from material bondage is not at all easy. The impersonalists and the yogis attain liberation only after much trouble and many, many births. Even then, the liberation they achieve, merging into the impersonal Brahmajyotir of the Lord, is only partial, and there is the risk of returning to this material world. But the devotee, simply by understanding the transcendental nature of the body and activities of the Lord, attains the abode of the Lord after ending this body and does not run the risk of returning to this material world. In the Brahma Samhita 533, it is stated that the Lord has many, many forms and incarnations. Advaitam, Achutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. Although there are many transcendental forms of the Lord, they are still one and the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. One has to understand this fact with conviction, although it is incomprehensible to mundane scholars and empiric philosophers. As stated in the Vedas, Purusha Bodhini Upanishad, which verse? Which Shastra? So now you can impress your friends. Tell them, quote something from the Purusha Bodhini Upanishad. According to the Purusha Bodhini Upanishad, Eko Devo Nitya Lilanu Rakto Bhakta Vyapi Hridyantar Atma. The one Supreme Personality of Godhead is eternally engaged in many, many transcendental forms in relationships with his unalloyed devotees. This Vedic version is confirmed in this verse of the Gita personally by the Lord. He who accepts this truth on the strength of the authority of the Vedas and of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who does not waste time in philosophical speculations, attains this truth on faith, attains the highest perfectional stage of liberation. Before I continue, I'd like Akuranath Prabhu to explain to us Pascal's wager.
Blaise Pascal was a great mathematician, as you know, and a great philosopher, but he was a very, very sincere Christian, Catholic. And but his idea of Pascal's wager is that you may believe there's a God or don't believe there's a God, but imagine you're betting, and if you bet that there is no God, then even if you win the bet, what have you really won? You just end up, you know, in a meaningless life, dying with futility and not having a relationship with God. But if you bet with your faith, if you put your heart there that there is God, then if you lose, you're no worse off than the person who bet that there isn't. But if you win, you can gain a beautiful, eternal spiritual relationship. And Pascal himself was experiencing that kind of relationship. In fact, he described in his writings how he was having symptoms like ecstatic symptoms of trembling and fainting and his hair standing on end. And so he was encouraging everyone to not take the bet that there is no God, but to take the bet that there is God. And he said, "This is the
If you bet there is a God and you lose, there's no harm. But if you win, then you gain everything. And if you bet the other way, you lose either way."
Yeah.
Okay. So now, in light of Pascal's wager, I'm going to read this section over again. This Vedic version is confirmed in this verse of the Gita personally by the Lord. He who accepts this truth on the strength of the authority of the Vedas and of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who does not waste time in philosophical speculations, attains the highest perfectional stage of liberation. Simply by accepting this truth on faith, one can, without a doubt, attain liberation. The Vedic version, Tattvamasi, is actually applied in this case. Anyone who understands Lord Krishna to be the Supreme, or who says unto the Lord, "You are the same Supreme Brahman," the personality of Godhead. Everyone say it. You are the same Supreme Brahman, personality of is certainly liberated instantly, and consequently his entrance into the transcendental association of the Lord is guaranteed. In other words, okay, there's a jai in there. In other words, such a faithful devotee of the Lord attains perfection, and this is confirmed by the following Vedic assertion: Tam eva vidit vati mrityumeti nanya panta vidite yanaya. One can attain the perfect stage of liberation from birth and death simply by knowing the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and there is no other way to achieve this perfection. That's from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad 3.8. Impress your friends. That there is no alternative means that anyone who does not understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is surely in the mode of ignorance, and consequently he will not attain salvation simply, so to speak, by licking the outer surface of the bottle of honey, or by interpreting the Bhagavad Gita according to mundane scholarship. Such empiric philosophers may assume very important roles in the material world, but they are not necessarily eligible for liberation. Such puffed up mundane scholars have to wait for the causeless mercy of the devotee of the Lord. One should therefore cultivate Krishna consciousness with faith and knowledge, and in this way attain perfection. Yes. So this is an important verse. This verse is thematic for the day of Janmastami. Just understanding that the Lord's appearance and activities are transcendental. And if one simply accepts this on faith, then he becomes instantly liberated. Did that live up to my promise? Okay. So we're continuing with the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.1.8. And the last sentence says, Krishna is always situated in his original position as Sakchidananda Vigraha, and anyone who renders service to him is also situated in his original spiritual identity, Swarupena Vyavastiti. This is the highest perfection of human life. Text number 8. My dear Shukadev Goswami, this is 10.1.8. My dear Shukadev Goswami, you have already explained that Sankarsana, who belongs to the second quadruple, appeared as the son of Rohini, named Balaram. Balaram ki. If Balaram was not transferred from one body to another, how is it possible that he was first in the womb of Devaki and then in the womb of Rohini? Kindly explain this to me. Purport. Here is a question particularly directed to understanding Balaram, who is Sankarshan himself. Balaram is well known as the son of Rohini, yet it is also known that he was the son of Devaki. Parikshit Maharaj wanted to understand the mystery of Balaram's being the son of both Devaki and Rohini. 9. Why did Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, leave the house of his father, Vasudeva, and transfer himself to the house of Nanda in Vrindavan? Where did the Lord, the master of the Yadu dynasty, live with his relatives in Vrindavan? Purport. These are inquiries about the itinerary of Krishna. Just after his birth in the house of Vasudeva and Mathura, Krishna transferred himself to Gokula on the other side of the Jamuna, and after some days he moved with his father, mother, and other relatives to Nandagram, Vrindavan. Maharaj Parikshit was very much eager to hear about Krishna's activities in Vrindavan. This entire canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is full of activities performed in Vrindavan and Dwarka. The first 40 chapters describe Krishna's Vrindavan affairs, and the next 50 describe Krishna's activities in Dwarka. Maharaj Parikshit, to fulfill his desire to hear about Krishna, requested Shukadev Goswami to describe these activities in full detail. 10. Lord Krishna lived both in Vrindavan and in Mathura. What did he do there? Why did he kill Kamsa, his mother's brother? Such killing is not at all sanctioned in the Shastras. Purport. One's maternal uncle, the brother of one's mother, is on the level of one's father. When a maternal uncle has no son, his nephew legally inherits his property. Therefore, why did Krishna directly kill Kamsa, the brother of his mother? Maharaj Parikshit was very much inquisitive about the facts in this regard. 11. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has no material body, yet he appears as a human being. For how many years did he live with the descendants of Vrishni? How many wives did he marry? And for how many years did he live in Dwarka? Purport. In many places, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is described as Sakchidananda Vigraha, possessing a spiritual blissful body. His bodily feature is Narakriti, that is, exactly like that of a human being. Here, the same idea is repeated in the words Manusham Ashritya, which indicate that he accepts a body exactly like that of a man. Everywhere it is confirmed that Krishna is never nirakara, or formless. He has his form exactly like that of a human being. There is no doubt about this. 12. O great sage who know everything, about Krishna, please describe in detail all the activities of which I have inquired and also those which I have not. For I have full faith and I am very eager to hear of them. 13. Because of my vow on the verge of death, I have given up even drinking water. Yet because I am drinking the nectar of topics about Krishna, which is flowing from the lotus mouth of your lordship, my hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, cannot hinder me. Purport. To prepare to meet death in 7 days, Maharaj Parikshit gave up all food and drink. As a human being, he was certainly both hungry and thirsty, and therefore Shukadeva Goswami might have wanted to stop narrating the transcendental topics of Krishna. But despite his fast, Maharaj Parikshit was not at all fatigued. The hunger and thirst from my fast do not disturb me, he said. Once, when I felt very thirsty, I went to the ashrama of Shamika Muni to drink water, but the Muni did not supply it. I therefore wrapped a dead snake over his shoulder, and that is why I was cursed by a Brahmana boy. Now, however, I am quite fit. I am not at all disturbed by my hunger and thirst. This indicates that although on the material platform there are disturbances from hunger and thirst, on the spiritual platform there is no such thing as fatigue. The entire world is suffering because of spiritual thirst. Why is the whole material world suffering? Spiritual thirst. Every living being is Brahman, or spirit soul, and needs spiritual food to satisfy his hunger and thirst. Unfortunately, however, the world is completely unaware of the nectar of Krishna Katha. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore a boon to philosophers, religionists, and people in general. There is certainly a charming attraction in Krishna and Krishna Katha. Therefore, the absolute truth is called Krishna, the most attractive. The word Amrita is also an important reference to the moon, and the word Ambuja means lotus. The pleasing moonshine and pleasing fragrance of the lotus combined to bring pleasure to everyone. Hearing Krishna Katha from the mouth of Shukadeva Goswami, as it is said, Matirna Krishne Parataksato Mito Pipadyeta Graha Vratanam Adanta Gobir Vishitam Tamishram Punak Punascharvita Charvananam. Because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress toward hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by combination of both. At the present moment, all of human society is engaged in the business of chewing the chewed. Punak punash charvita charvananam. People are prepared to undergo mrityu sangsaravartmani, taking birth in one form, dying, accepting another form, and dying again. To stop this repetition of birth and death, Krishna Katha, or Krishna consciousness, is absolutely necessary. But unless one hears Krishna Katha from a realized soul like Shukadeva Goswami, one cannot relish the nectar of Krishna Katha, which puts an end to all material fatigue, and enjoy the blissful life of transcendental existence. In relation to the Krishna consciousness movement, we actually see that those who have tasted the nectar of Krishna Katha lose all material desires, whereas those who cannot understand Krishna or Krishna Katha regard the Krishna conscious life as brainwashing and mind control. While the devotees enjoy spiritual bliss, the non-devotees are surprised that the devotees have forgotten material hankerings. Welcome everybody. Thanks for coming to ISKCON of Silicon Valley for Janmastami. We're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, and this is the opening discussion between Maharaj Parikshit and Shukadeva Goswami. And in this section, we're hearing about the qualification for one to fully take in the process of Krishna consciousness, and that is to be free from material hankering. But even those who are affected by the material world, if they submit themselves to the process of hearing, will gradually become purified of the desire to enjoy matter, which is not a logical choice, because actually we as spiritual souls have nothing to do with matter at all, and it's not satisfying. But one who goes on hearing Krishna Katha will gradually experience the real flavor, spiritual flavor of Krishna Katha, will come to relish it directly. And this is a sign of awakening spiritual health. We heard just recently in the Srimad Bhagavatam that as one regains spiritual health, one's mind becomes more and more attracted to Krishna Katha. And this is mentioned by Kapiladeva in a verse that he speaks to his mother, in which he says that the manifestation of pure devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing within everyone's heart. Just as the waters of the Ganges flow naturally down towards the ocean, one's ecstatic emotion towards Krishna, which is uninterrupted by material motivation, flows towards Krishna. This verse from Kapiladeva's Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhashaye Manogatir Avichina Yata Gangam Baso Budao Lakshana Bhakti Yogasya Yugunasya Hudaritam Ahaituki Avyavahita Sa Ya Bhakti Purushottame. In this verse, Kapiladeva is coming to the end of a series of statements he makes about the practice of devotional service. And he says one might practice devotional service but be affected also by the mode of ignorance, or by the mode of passion, or by the mode of goodness. But when one comes to transcendental, pure devotional service, here's the symptom. And that is Madguna Shruti Matrena. That is, immediately upon hearing Krishna's names or his pastimes, one's mind becomes attracted. And he says that it runs after the name, just as the Ganges runs towards the sea, naturally flows in that direction. It's not an intellectual process, but one is compelled by that. And that can be achieved by associating with pure devotees and continuing the hearing process, which purifies the heart and mind. Sutta Goswami said, O son of Bhrigu, Shonaka Rishi, after Shukadeva Goswami, the most respectful devotee, the son of Vyasadeva, heard the pious questions of Maharaj Parikshit, he thanked the king with great respect. Then he began to discourse on topics concerning Krishna, which are the remedy for all sufferings in this age of Kali. Purport. In this verse, the words Krishna Charitam Kali Kalma Shagnam indicate that the activities of Lord Krishna are certainly the greatest panacea for all miseries, especially in this age of Kali. It is said that in Kali Yuga, people have only short lives, and they have no culture of spiritual consciousness. If anyone is at all interested in spiritual culture, he is misled by many bogus swamis and yogis who do not refer to Krishna Katha. Therefore, most people are unfortunate and disturbed by many calamities. Srila Vyasadeva prepared Srimad Bhagavatam at the request of Narada Muni in order to give relief to the suffering people of this age. Kali Kalma Shagnam. The Krishna consciousness movement is seriously engaged in enlightening people through the pleasing topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. All over the world, the message of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is being accepted in all spheres of life, especially in advanced educated circles. Are you finding that? The brahmacharis in the back, they're listening very intently, as brahmacharis are known to do, are traveling here, there, and everywhere, distributing the Bhagavad Gita and other transcendental literatures. And maybe you can comment on this last sentence. The Krishna conscious movement is seriously engaged in enlightening people through the pleasing topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. All over the world, the message of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is being accepted in all spheres of life, especially in advanced educated circles. Are you finding in various circles of life that people are accepting the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yeah, I actually have one instance here in San Jose State University. We set up a book table, and one of the professors came up to me and says that he teaches Beyond Birth and Death as one of the standard textbooks in his class. He's been doing it for many years. And he gave me a really nice donation and took a whole box of Gitas, Bhagavad Gitas, to give to his students.
Sadhu, sadhu. In which ways have you seen that people are accepting the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in society as you're circulating?
I think in many ways it's very subtle. The subtle teachings of Bhagavad Gita are being accepted. Ideas as reincarnation, karma. I think Prabhupada coming here in 1966, it planted a lot of subtle seeds within the consciousness that we don't necessarily see manifesting within the temple. We're not seeing like directly, but there's very underlying things taking place throughout society. The more Bhagavad Gita gets out, the more people are becoming aware of some of the basic laws of nature, which will gradually lead to Krishna consciousness.
Everyone can get a look at wandering mendicants. They wander everywhere within the material creation, just giving Krishna consciousness to others. Srila Shukadeva Goswami is described in this verse as Bhagavata Pradhana. What's he described as? Whereas Maharaj Parikshit is described as Vishnu Ratham. Described as what? Both words bear the same meaning. That is, Maharaj Parikshit was a great devotee of Krishna, and Shukadeva Goswami was also a great saintly person and a great devotee of Krishna. Combined together to present Krishna Katha, they gave great relief to suffering humanity. Altogether. Anartopasanam shakshat bhakti yogam atoksaje lokasya janato vidvamsh chakre satvata sanghitam. The material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is in relation to the supreme truth. People in general are unaware that the message of Srimad Bhagavatam can give all of human society relief from the pangs of Kali Yuga, Kali Kalma Shagnam. So it's the greatest charity work to let people know that the real medicine is to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And to distribute the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita is the greatest welfare work that one can do. To that end, we've established the Go Matsya project. Go Matsya, as many of you know, the great incarnation of Lord Matsya Dev appeared to save the Vedas. He kept them up on a boat when there was an inundation in the universe. So the Matsya project, which is now going on all over the world, has the mission of preservation through mass distribution and education. So the best way to preserve the Vedic culture is through literature, because an institution is defined as the means through which one can transport culture across time and geography. And what is culture? Culture is what is considered real, right, and valuable to an individual, a group of people. And the way that the culture of Krishna consciousness passes from one geographical area to the next, and from one time period, one era to the next, is through transcendental literature. And therefore, the means of transporting this culture of Krishna consciousness and giving it to people all over the world is best done through the mass distribution of transcendental literature, which is now in this window of opportunity we have during this technological boom that we're experiencing here in the world. We have high-speed printing, and we have many copies of the Srimad Bhagavatam available for the world. So, Gomatsya was established to enroll people all over the world who are interested in preserving Vedic culture. Anybody who's interested in that, raise your hand. So I'll just say, everybody raise your hand. And then I'll just say, everyone raise your hand. Everyone who's raised their hand, we count you as those among the Gomatsya initiative who are concerned about spreading Vedic culture all over the world. And so to enroll in Gomatsya, you can meet one of the representatives, and they'll sign you up as a member of the Gomatsya team to help spread Vedic culture all over the world, especially by propagating the Srimad Bhagavatam. You may know people who are suffering due to ignorance. Does anybody know anybody who's suffering due to ignorance? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 people know somebody who's suffering due to ignorance. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. Yes. What? I couldn't hear what you said. When is it? Why didn't you blow the conch? That's not the process. You're supposed to blow the conch. I thought it was at 12:30. You were supposed to tell me and you didn't tell me? Bhaja Bhakata Vatsala Shri Gaura Hari. Everyone please stand for Artik. Bhaja Bhakata Vatsala Shri Gaura Hari. Shri Gaura Hari Sohi Goshta Bihari. Can move the mats. Shri Gaura Hari Sohi Goshta Bihari. Can you get me the headset? Nanda Yashomati Chitta Hari. Bhaja Bhakata Vatsala Shri Gaura Hari. Bhaja Bhakata Vatsala Shri Gaura Hari. Belo Halo Damodara ISKCON. Boja Mandire Bosi Koro Bojano. Nandera Ni Deshi Vaisesika Bharadhari. Baladeva Sahasaka Vaise Sari Sari. Shukta Shakari Baji Nalita Kushmanda. Dali dalna dugda tumba dari mocha kanda. Vajabhakata vatsala Shri Gaurahari. Vajabhakata vatsala Shri Gaurahari. Mugda Bora Masa Bora Rotika Gritana. Shashkuli Pishtaka Kir Puli Payasana. Karpura Amrita Keli Ramba Kirasara. Amrita Rasala Amla Dwadasha Prakara. Vajabhakata Vatsala Shri Gaurahari. Vajabhakata Vatsala Shri Gaurahari. Ruchi Chini Sapura Ladu Rasabali. Bojana Korena Krishna Hoye Kutahali. Radhikara Pakana Vivida Bhyanjana. Parama Anande Krishna Korena Bojana. Chale Bali Ladu Kai Shrimadu Mangala. Bagala Bajai Aradeya Hari Bolo. Vajabhakata Vatsala Shri Gaurahari. Vajabhakata Vatsala Shri Gaurahari. Radhikari Gani Hari Nayanera Kone. Kripta Hoye Kai Krishna Jashoda Bhavane. Bojanante Priye Krishna Subhasita Bhari. Sabe Mukta Prakaloy Hoye Sari Sari. Hasta Mukha Prakaliya Jata Sakagane. Anande Vishrama Kori Baladeva Sane. Vajabhakata Vatsala Shri Gaurahari. Vajabhakata Vatsala Shri Gaurahari. Shambura Rasala Ani Tambula Masala. Tahake Krishna Chandra Suke Nidra Deva. Disha Laksha Shiki Pucha Chamara Dhulaya. Apurva Shayaya Krishna Sukha Nidra Jaya. Vajabhakata Vatsala Shri Gaurahari. Vajabhakata Vatsala Shri Gaurahari. Yashomati Adyape Danishta Anito. Shri Krishna Prasada Radha Punje Hoi Prito Lalitari Sakdana Abhishesha Paya Mane Mane Sukarata Krishna Guna Gaya Hari Lila Ek Matra Jahara Pramoda Bhogati Gai Thakur Pakati Vinoda Raja Pakata Vasara Shiroda Hari Raja Pakata Vasara Shiroda Hari Shiroda Hari Sohi Dosha Vihari Nanda Yashomati Shikahari Nanda Yashomati Raja Pakata Vasala Shiroda Hari Raja Pakata Vasala Shiroda Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Sai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Sai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Premanande, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Shri Harinam Mantra ki, Shri Harinam Prabhu ki, Shri Janmastami Mahamahotsav ki, Shri Radha Madan Mohan ji ki, Gaur Premanande, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Sai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Privrajikacharya Stotarasti Shishimada Bhai Charanada Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Privrajikacharya Stotarasti Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki. Ananta Gaudiya Vaishnavindi ki. Dhamacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki. Premsika Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokubina Shyamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki. Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham ki. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi ki. Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki. Samveda Bhaktivinoda ki. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladaladaine Hiranyakashipu Rakshaha Shiladankanakalaye Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsimha Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsimha Yato yato yami tato Nrsimha Yato yato yami tato Nrsimha Vahi Nrsimha Hridaya Nrsimha Vahi Nrsimha Hridaya Nrsimha Narasimha Madin Sharanam Prapade Narasimha Madin Sharanam Prapade Tava Kara Kamala Varenakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Pringa Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare नृसिंहदेव भगवान की। Which one? Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Kara Hariba, 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 Nitai Kara Hariba. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. My book is gone. That little book I had. What? Yeah. Shudha Bhakata Charanarenu Bhajananukula. I think you want to put out more seats in a more organized way if you can. Shudha Bhakata Charanarenu Panajana Anukula. Inu Anukula Shuddha Bhakata Charanarenu Bhajananukula Bhakata Seva Paramasiddhi Premalati Karambula Bhakata Seva Paramasiddhi Premalati Karambula Madhavati Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori Krishna Basati Basati Boli Paramadare Bhori Gaurama Jesha Bastane Kololo Brahmana Range Shesha Bastana Heribo Ami Prayani Bhakata Sange Midangavajya Shunati Mana Avasara Sadajache Gaurvihita Kirtana Shuni Ananderi Doya Nache Jugala Murti Deki Amora Paramananda Hoya Prasada Seva Korite Hoya Sakala Prapancha Jaya Jedina Grihe Bhajana Deki Grihe Te Goloka Bhaya Charana Sidhu Dekiya Ganga Sukhana Sima Paya Tulasi Deki Juraya Prana Madhavato Shani Jani Gaura Priya Shakshevane Jivana Sartakamani Bhakati Vinod Krishna Bhajane Napaya Bhakati Vinod Krishna Bhajane Anakuli Bhakti Vinod Krishna Bhajane Anukula Payaja. Pratidiva se parama sukhe svikara koro yeta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Translation. The dust from the lotus feet of pure devotees gives rise to devotional service, and service to the devotees is itself the supreme perfection and the root of the tender creeper of divine love. With great care, I observe holy days like ISKCON and Janmastami, for they are the mother of devotion. And with the greatest reverence and love, I choose as my dwelling place the transcendental abode of Sri Krishna. In the company of loving devotees, I will visit all those places where my Lord Gaurasundar traveled and performed his pastimes. My mind always begs to hear the music of the mridanga, and my heart dances in ecstasy whenever I hear the kind of kirtan established by Lord Gaurachandra. I feel supreme bliss when I behold the deity forms of the divine couple, Shri Radha and Krishna, and I conquer all worldly illusions by honoring the Lord's prasadam. Every day, Goloka Vrindavan appears in my home when I see Lord Hari being worshipped there. My joy knows no bounds when I see the Ganges, a river of nectar emanating from the Lord's lotus feet. The sight of the Tulsi plant soothes my soul, for I know she gives pleasure to Lord Krishna. I feel that my life has been fulfilled when I honor sak, a green leafy vegetable preparation that is a favorite of Lord Chaitanya's. Whatever Bhaktivinoda obtains that furthers devotional service to Sri Krishna, he accepts every day with the greatest joy. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Bhakti Vinod, Bhakti Vinod, Bhakti Vinod, Jaya Bhakti Vinod. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Premanande. We'd like to welcome the youngest devotee in the history of ISKCON Janmastami. Haribo! So, you got it? Want me to read it later? There's more people. Okay, I'll do that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're continuing with the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, The Advent of Lord Krishna, Introduction. We're on text number 15. And we advise you to turn your cell phones on and turn up the volume, because if your cell phone goes off during the class, then you have to buy one Krishna book. Bring me a couple brand new Krishna books, $10 each. So we request you, please have your phone go off during the class. You got one already? Okay. Because your cell phone went off? Or just on your own? Okay. And if you slam the door that'll cost you one Bhagavatam set. That's $250. Okay. That's a... So, we encourage it. Srila Shukadev Goswami said, O your majesty, best of all saintly kings, because you are greatly attracted to topics of Vasudeva, it is certain that your intelligence is firmly fixed in spiritual understanding, which is the only true goal for humanity. Because that attraction is unceasing, it is certainly sublime. Can everyone hear okay? These are the Krishna books. They're ready to go. Hare Krishna. Krishna Katha is compulsory for the Rajarshis or executive head, for the Rajarshi or executive head of government. This is also mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Imam Rajarshayo Viduhu. Unfortunately, however, in this age, the governmental power is gradually being captured by third-class and fourth-class men who have no spiritual understanding, and society is therefore very quickly becoming degraded. Krishna Katha must be understood by the executive heads of government, for otherwise, how will people be happy and gain relief from the pangs of materialistic life? One who has fixed his mind in Krishna consciousness should be understood to have very sharp intelligence in regard to the value of life. Maharaj Parikshit was Rajarshi Sattama, the best of all saintly kings, and Shukadev Goswami was Muni Sattama, the best of munis. Both of them were elevated because of their common interest in Krishna Katha. The exalted position of the speaker and the audience will be explained very nicely in the next verse. Krishna Katha is so enlivening that Maharaj Parikshit forgot everything material, even his personal comfort in relation to food and drink. This is an example of how the Krishna consciousness movement should be spread all over the world to bring both the speaker and the audience to the transcendental platform and back home, back to Godhead. Text number 16. We have some microphones here. I'm going to ask for reflections. That means when you hear something that catches in your mind, that seems useful to you, I'm going to ask for it when I stop at intervals, then you can reflect back. So save those things, keep a note. 16, the Ganges emanating from the toe of Lord Vishnu purifies the three worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. Similarly, when one asks questions about the pastimes and characteristics of Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, three varieties of men are purified: the speaker or preacher, he who inquires, and the people in general who listen. Purport, it is said, Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jignasu Shreya Uttamam. That's from the Bhagavatam 11th canto. Those interested in understanding transcendental subject matters as the goal of life must approach the bona fide spiritual master. Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta. One must surrender to such a guru who can give right information about Krishna. Herein, Maharaj Parikshit has surrendered to the right personality, Shukadev Goswami, for enlightenment in Vasudeva Katha. Vasudeva is the original personality of Godhead who has unlimited spiritual activities. Srimad Bhagavatam is a record of such activities. And Bhagavad Gita is the record of Vasudeva speaking personally. Therefore, since the Krishna consciousness movement is full of Vasudeva Katha, anyone who hears, anyone who joins the movement, and anyone who preaches will be purified. 17. Once when Mother Earth was overburdened by hundreds of thousands of military phalanxes of various conceited demons dressed like kings, she approached Lord Brahma for relief. Purport, when the world is overburdened by unnecessary military arrangements, and when various demoniac kings are the executive heads of state, this burden causes the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 4.7, Yada yada yadharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhutanam adharmasya jadatmanam srajamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of your religion, at that time I appear myself. When the residents of this earth become atheistic and godless, they descend to the status of animals like dogs and hogs. and thus their only business is to bark among themselves. This is dharmasya glani, deviation from the goal of life. Human life is meant for attaining the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness. But when people are godless and the presidents or kings are unnecessarily puffed up with military power, their business is to fight and increase the military strength of their different states. Nowadays, therefore, it appears that every state is busy manufacturing atomic weapons to prepare for a third world war. Such preparations are certainly unnecessary. They reflect the false pride of the heads of state. The real business of a chief executive is to see to the happiness of the mass of people by training them in Krishna consciousness in different divisions of life. Chaturvanyam maya shrishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha, Bhagavad Gita 4:13. A leader should train the people as brahmanas, kshatriyas, vaishyas, and shudras, and engage them in various occupational duties, thus helping them progress toward Krishna consciousness. Instead, however, rogues and thieves, in the guise of protectors, arrange for a voting system and exploit the citizens. Even long ago, asuras, persons devoid of God consciousness, became the heads of state, and now this is happening again. The various states of the world are preoccupied with arranging for military strength. Sometimes they spend 65% of the government's revenue for this purpose. But why should people's hard-earned money be spent in this way? Because of the present world situation, Krishna has descended in the form of the Krishna consciousness movement. This is quite natural, for without the Krishna consciousness movement, the world cannot be peaceful and happy. Mother Earth assumed the form of a cow. Very much distressed, with tears in her eyes, she appeared before Lord Brahma and told him about her misfortune. Thereafter, having heard the distress of Mother Earth, Lord Brahma, with Mother Earth, Lord Shiva, and all the other demigods approached the shore of the ocean of milk. Purport: after Lord Brahma understood the precarious condition of the earth, he first visited the demigods headed by Lord Indra, who were in charge of the various affairs of this universe, and Lord Shiva, who is responsible for annihilation. Both maintenance and annihilation go on perpetually under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4:8, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam, those who are obedient to the laws of God are protected by different servants and demigods, whereas those who are undesirable are vanquished by Lord Shiva. Lord Brahma first met all the demigods, including Lord Shiva. Then, along with Mother Earth, they went to the shore of the ocean of milk, where Lord Vishnu lies on a white island, Shweta-dweep. 20. After reaching the shore of the ocean of milk, the demigods worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, the master of the whole universe, the supreme God of all gods, who provides for everyone and diminishes everyone's sufferings. With great attention, they worship Lord Vishnu, who lies on the ocean of milk, by reciting the Vedic mantras known as Purusha Sukta. How many here know the Purusha Sukta? Yes? Just learned it? Oh, just heard it, okay. The demigods, such as Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Indra, Chandra, and Surya, are all subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Aside from the demigods, even in human society, there are many influential personalities supervising various businesses or establishments. Lord Vishnu, however, is the God of gods, Parameshvara. He is Paramapurusha, the Supreme Being, Paramatma, as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita 5.1. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sakchirananda Vigraha. Krishna is known as Govinda, the Supreme Controller. He has an eternal, blissful, spiritual body. No one is equal to or greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he is described here by many words: Jagannath, Devadeva, Vrishakapi, and Purusha. The supremacy of Lord Vishnu is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 10.12 in this statement by Arjuna. Param Brahma Pram Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Haridevam Ajam Vibhum. You are the Supreme Brahman, the ultimate, the supreme abode and purifier, the absolute truth and the eternal divine person. You are the primal God, transcendental and original, and you are the unborn and all-pervading beauty. Krishna is Adi Purusha, the original personality of Godhead. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Vishnu is a plenary expansion of Lord Krishna, and all the Vishnu tattvas are Parameshvara, Deva Deva. 21. While in trance, Lord Brahma heard the words of Lord Vishnu vibrating in the sky. Thus he told the demigods, O demigods, hear from me the order of Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, the Supreme Person, and execute it attentively without delay. Purport. It appears that the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be heard in trance by competent persons. Modern science gives us telephones by which one can hear sound vibrations from a distant place. Similarly, although other persons cannot hear the words of Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma is able to hear the Lord's words within himself. This is confirmed in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1. Teni Brahma Hridaya Adikaviye. Adikavi is Lord Brahma. In the beginning of the creation, Lord Brahma received the instructions of Vedic knowledge from Lord Vishnu through the medium of the heart, Hrida. The same principle is confirmed herewith. While Brahma was in trance, he was able to hear the words of Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, and he carried the Lord's message to the demigods. Similarly, in the beginning, Brahma first received the Vedic knowledge from the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the core of his heart. In both instances, the same process was used in transmitting the message to Lord Brahma. In other words, although Lord Vishnu was invisible, even to Lord Brahma could hear Lord Vishnu's words through the heart. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is invisible even to Lord Brahma. Yet he descends on this earth and becomes visible to people in general. This is certainly an act of his causeless mercy. But fools and non-devotees think that Krishna is an ordinary historical person. Because they think that the Lord is an ordinary person like them, they are described as mudha. Avajananti mam mudha. The causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is neglected by such demoniac persons, who cannot understand the instructions of Bhagavad Gita and who therefore misinterpret them. Text 22. Lord Brahma informed the demigods, before we submitted our petition to the Lord, he was already aware of the distress on earth. Consequently, for as long as the Lord moves on earth to diminish its burden by his own potency in the form of time, all of you demigods should appear through plenary portions as sons and grandsons in the family of the Yadus. Purport, as stated in the Brahma Samhita, Ramari Mutti Shukala Niyamena Tishtan Nanavatarama Karod Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samababat Parama Pumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is always situated in various incarnations such as Rama, Nrsimha, and many sub-incarnations as well, but who is the original personality of Godhead known as Krishna, and who incarnates personally also. In this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, we find the words Puraiva Pumsa Vadrito Dvara Jvara. Dvara Jara. Dvara Jvara. The word Pungsa refers to Krishna, who was already aware of how the whole world was suffering because of the increase of demons. Without reference to the supreme power of the personality of Godhead, demons assert themselves to be independent kings and presidents, and thus they create a disturbance by increasing their military power. When such disturbances are very prominent, Krishna appears. At present also, various demoniac states all over the world are increasing their military power in many ways, and the whole situation has become distressful. Therefore, Krishna has appeared by his name in the Hare Krishna movement, which will certainly diminish the burden of the world. Philosophers, religionists, and people in general must take to this movement very seriously, for man-made plans and devices will not help bring peace on earth. The transcendental sound, Hare Krishna, is not different from the person Krishna. Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nityamukto Vinatvam Nama Namino. There is no difference between the sound, Hare Krishna, and Krishna, the person. And now we'll take a few reflections. Anything that you heard so far that stuck?
The duty of the chief executive is to ensure the happiness of the mass of people by training them in Krishna consciousness. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Hare Krishna movement and Krishna himself are non-different from each other. It's amazing.
Thank you. Karvind.
In the starting of the verses, it says, I think, how the Ganges purified the three planetary systems, something, and then similarly when there is a Krishna conscious talk is going on, so the person who asks the question, who is speaker, and everywhere else who listens, they all get purified.
Purushastrin punatihi. Three kinds of people get purified when Krishna Katha is there. The speaker, the listener, and everybody in between who gets that. Yes. Vasudeva Katha Prashna Purusham Strin Punatihi.
I was thinking of the point that when Lord Brahma himself cannot actually see Krishna, but he's so cautiously merciful and he appears in his name. And, it's so easily available that, most people don't understand the effect of chanting, and then the connection of Krishna with the name is so difficult to perceive. So I was just thinking about that. So hard to even start understanding.
Yeah. I just read yesterday, Prabhupada said that although it's a simple process, Krishna is fully available in his name, and the simple process of chanting Hare Krishna can connect one immediately. He said, I see many of my disciples collecting many austere books. Try to do another method. And he also mentioned in another lecture that there's a way in which people think that because the chanting of Hare Krishna seems too simple, they try to find a more complicated method because they think a simple method can't be effective. It has to be more complicated. I have to do some breathing exercise or something in order to elevate myself. Akurnath.
In the beginning of the reading, it was talking about how the Rajarshis have to hear Krishna Katha. It's important that the political leaders, the administrative leaders of society hear Krishna Katha. That's why Krishna spoke it to the sun god and to the Rajarshis in disciplic succession. But in modern democracies, the low-class people just vote in someone like themselves, and therefore we have all kinds of trouble in the world where we don't have proper leadership who understands Krishna consciousness, and therefore Krishna will descend again in the form of this Hare Krishna movement and in the form of his holy name and the book distribution, which is promoting the Krishna consciousness.
So words are prescient. So, anything else?
I like the point where it said we should surrender to the right guru, who is a surrendered right personality.
Who is what?
Surrendered right personality.
Surrendered right personality?
Yeah.
Oh. Yes. Then everything. Yes.
So this is more in connection with the material world, but as per Bhagavatam, we also learn when the material world was created, first sound came, and then came the other things of sense enjoyment. So sound, I think, permeates everything, and that is why Hare Krishna is so powerful. The name of Hare Krishna is the same as Krishna.
Thank you for reminding us. Anavriti Shabdat. The Vedanta Sutra said you can become liberated by sound.
So I like the point where in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, he mentions that even Brahma couldn't see Vishnu, but he's so merciful that he personally appeared here, that too very recently. And I think we are extremely fortunate because we have appeared just after Krishna's appearance, just after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, and just after Srila Prabhupada's appearance. And I think our generation is extremely fortunate because the first generation devotees after Prabhupada's appearance have set everything for us. So everything is presented in a silver plate for us. So we're very, very fortunate.
Yeah, and you have a lot of service to do.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Nice points, such nice points. Yes. Okay. This is text number, where am I? I'm on 23? Vasudeva grihe sakshat bhagavan purusha para chanishyate tat priyartam sambhavantu surastriyaha. The Supreme Personality of God is Sri Krishna, who has full potency, will personally appear as the son of Vasudeva. Therefore, all the wives of the demigods should also appear in order to satisfy him. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 4.9, the Lord says, Tyakva deham punar janma naiti mameti. After giving up the material body, the devotee of the Lord returns home, back to Godhead. This means that the devotee is first transferred to the particular universe where the Lord is at that time staying to exhibit his pastimes. There are innumerable universes, and the Lord is appearing in one of these universes at every moment. Therefore, his pastimes are called Nitya Lila, eternal pastimes. The Lord's appearance as a child in the house of Devaki takes place continuously in one universe after another. Therefore, the devotee is first transferred to that particular universe where the pastimes of the Lord are current. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, even if a devotee does not complete the course of devotional service, he enjoys the happiness of the heavenly planets, where the most pious people dwell. And then he takes birth in the house of a Shuchi or Shriman, a pious Brahmana or a wealthy Vaishya. Shuchinam Shrimatam Gehe Yogabrashto Bijayate. Thus, a pure devotee, even if unable to execute devotional service completely, is transferred to the upper planetary system where pious people reside. From there, if his devotional service is complete, such a devotee is transferred to the place where the Lord's pastimes are going on. Herein it is said, Sambhavantu Surastriya. Surastri, the women of the heavenly planets, were thus ordered to appear in the Yadu dynasty in Vrindavan to enrich the pastimes of Lord Krishna. These Surastri, when further trained to live with Krishna, would be transferred to the original Goloka Vrindavan. During Lord Krishna's pastimes within this world, the Surastri were to appear in different ways in different families to give pleasure to the Lord, just so that they would be fully trained before going to the eternal Goloka Vrindavan. With the association of Lord Krishna either at Dwarkapuri, Mathurapuri, or Vrindavan, they would certainly return home back to Godhead. Among the Surastri, the women of the heavenly planets, there are many devotees, such as the mother of the Upendra incarnation of Krishna. It was such devoted women who were called for in this connection. In light of your remarks about this being, remembering how the Krishna has appeared as the Krishna consciousness movement, one could also consider that you have already taken birth in the place where Krishna is performing his pastimes due to past momentum or connection with the devotional service. Being trained in the Sankirtan movement and being in contact is the same as being in contact with Krishna's pastimes. They're non-different. In fact, Prabhupada in a purport in his Chaitanya Charitamrita mentions that anyone, whether they're beginners or advanced practitioners, who is fully engaged in the Sankirtan movement, he calls them Nitya Siddhas, eternally perfect, because they've attained perfection of life. So I really appreciated your observation about how Prabhupada has pointed out here, this Krishna consciousness movement is incarnation of Krishna, especially in the Kali Yuga, to save the world. The foremost manifestation of Krishna is Sankarsana, who is known as Ananta. He is the origin of all incarnations within this material world. Previous to the appearance of Lord Krishna, this original Sankarshan will appear as Baladev, just to please the Supreme Personality, the Supreme Lord Krishna in his transcendental pastimes. Purport: Sri Baladev is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. He is equal in supremacy to the Supreme Godhead, yet wherever Krishna appears, Sri Baladev appears as his brother, sometimes elder and sometimes younger. When Krishna appears, all his plenary expansions and other incarnations appear with him. This is elaborately explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. This time Baladev would appear before Krishna as Krishna's elder brother. 25. The potency of the Lord, known as Vishnu Maya, is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is as good, will also appear with Lord Krishna. This potency, acting in different capacities, captivates all the worlds, both material and spiritual. At the request of her master, she will appear with her different potencies in order to execute the work of the Lord. Purport: Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shuyate Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.8. In the Vedas it is said that the potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are called by different names, such as Yogamaya and Mahamaya. Ultimately, however, the Lord's potency is one, exactly as electric potency is one, although it can act both to cool and heat. The Lord's potency acts in both the spiritual and material worlds. In the spiritual world, the Lord's potency works as Yogamaya, and in the material world, the same potency works as Mahamaya, exactly as electricity works in both a heater and a cooler. In the material world, this potency working as Mahamaya acts upon the conditioned souls to deprive them more and more of devotional service. It is said, Yaya samohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam. In the material world, the conditioned soul thinks of himself as a product of triguna, the three modes of material nature. This is the bodily conception of life. Because of associating with the three gunas of the material potency, everyone identifies himself with his body. Someone is thinking he is a Brahmana, someone a Kshatriya, and someone a Vaishya or Shudra. Actually, however, one is neither a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, or a Shudra. One is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, Mamai Vamshaha. But because of being covered by the material energy, Mahamaya, one identifies himself in these different ways. When the conditioned soul becomes liberated, however, he thinks himself an eternal servant of Krishna. Jivera swarupoi Krishnera nityadas. When he comes to that position, the same potency acting as Yogamaya increasingly helps him become purified and devote his energy to the service of the Lord. In either case, the gain is a little high on this, could go down just a tick. In either case, whether the soul is conditioned or liberated, the Lord is supreme. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.10, Maya jakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam. It is by the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that the material energy, Mahamaya, works upon the conditioned soul. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ankara vimutatma kartam iti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself to be the doer of activities which are in actuality carried out by nature. Within conditioned life, no one has freedom, but because one is bewildered, being subject to the rule of Mahamaya, one foolishly thinks himself independent. Ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. But when the conditioned soul becomes liberated by executing devotional service, he is given a greater and greater chance to relish a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in different transcendental statuses, such as Dasya Ras, Sakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, and Madhurya Ras. Thus, the Lord's potency, Vishnu Maya, has two features, Avaranaka, and Unmukha. When the Lord appeared, his potency came with him and acted in different ways. She acted as Yogamaya with Yashoda, Devaki, and other intimate relations of the Lord, and she acted in a different way with Kamsa, Shalva, and other asuras. By the order of Lord Krishna, his potency Yogamaya came with him and exhibited different activities according to the time and circumstances. Karyarte sambhavishyati. Yogamaya acted differently to execute different purposes desired by the Lord. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Mahatmanastumam parta daivim prakritimashritaha. The Mahatmas who fully surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord are directed by Yogamaya, whereas the Duratmas, those who are devoid of devotional service, are directed by Mahamaya. Just as one experiences great difficulty in moving about the material world. In fact, the name Durga means Durgachati, it means difficult to go. The material energy is extremely restrictive on conditioned soul. There are boundaries on all sides. How much we can enjoy sense gratification, for instance, is restricted by the limitation we have of the corporal body. And even we can observe moving about the earth these days is not so easy. You have to be checked everywhere you go. You have to have a visa to move over across one border to another. And as much as the material energy is limiting for conditioned soul, she's helpful to those who are engaged in the process of devotional service. So one can only imagine how much help a devotee attains from the potency, internal potency of the Lord. And though it's the same potency, it acts differently on different people. For instance, when Vidura was engaged in an altercation in his own home, because Duryodhana was furious with him for siding with the Pandavas, and he chastised him and threatened him. And at that time, Vidura took that as an excuse to walk out of the palace and go on pilgrimage for his own purification. Prabhupada mentions in that story that Duryodhana was being conducted by the external energy to become furious because of his envy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and anyone who was helping him, including Vidura. And Vidura was being conducted by the internal potency. In the same instance, as Duryodhana was screaming at Vidura, Vidura was experiencing internal potency and Duryodhana was experiencing external potency. Therefore, devotees, wherever they go, because their attitude is towards service, and that's mentioned in the first part of this purport, devotees are Jivera Swarupoi Krishna Nityadas. When he comes to that position, the same potency acting as Yogamaya increasingly helps him become purified and devote his energy to the service of the Lord. And therefore, devotees, as they continue to practice the process of bhakti, notice that Krishna and his energies are helping. In fact, the devotees see that even the reversals of fortune that come to their lives are the grace of Krishna. This is the quintessential attitude of a devotee. Tate anukampam samikshamano bunjana evatma kritam vipakam hridvagvapurvir vidam namaste jivetayo mukti pade sadaya bhak. And that is, a devotee considers that whatever reversals are coming to me are the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'm becoming purified by this, and Krishna is reminding me to leave the material world. And not only that, I'm burning out the reactions to my past sinful activities. Such a person is eligible, says the verse spoken by Brahma, to inherit the kingdom of God. So attitude is very important. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, actually the servants of Srila Prabhupada, who wrote the commentary past the 13th chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, invoke the commentaries of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Sridhar Swami. First, Sridhar Swami says about this verse that the first duty of a devotee is to stay alive in Krishna consciousness, just as much as the first duty of the son of a rich man is to stay alive, because the son of a rich man will inherit the father's wealth. In a similar way, if a devotee simply stays alive in Krishna consciousness, then the devotee will inherit the kingdom of God. And that's what the verse specifically states in legal terms, Sadaya Bhak. It means that the person who adopts this attitude of accepting everything as the mercy of the Lord and goes on suffering, simply expecting the ultimate mercy of the Lord, is fit to inherit the kingdom of God. Second point made by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the purport is that although when a devotee surrenders, he no longer has any karma. We established that in our earlier discussion this morning by invoking various verses. There are many that say that as soon as one takes to the process of devotional service, his karma is burnt. For instance, Brahma Samhita, Yaswindra Gopa Matavendra Mohosa Karma Bandhana Rupa Palabhajana Matanoti Karmani Nirdahati Kintu Chapakti Bhajam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Indra Gopa germs, tiny little entity, and Indra, who's a big powerful entity, most powerful in the material world, both of them, says Brahma, are getting the results of their past fruit of sinful activities in various ways. And he goes on to say that a devotee is not subject to this because by performing bhakti bhajan, one's becoming freed from karma. Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajan. One's karma is nullified by this. Furthermore, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami quotes a verse from the Padma Purana. Aprarabdha palam paptam kutam bijam palonmukam kramainaiva praliyante Vishnu Bhakti Ratatmanam, which means that there are various stages of karma. Aprarabdha means karma which is coming to us but it hasn't fully manifested yet. And then there's prarabdha karma, which is I'm experiencing it now. And there's kuta and bija, which are other various stages of karma manifesting from a very subtle state and coming into a grosser state. And as we heard from the earlier verse in the Bhagavatam, there are unlimited seeds of karma, and who knows where they all come from, because karma is anadi. It's beginningless, and therefore it's impossible to trace out these various seeds of karma that we have. Nonetheless, the verse goes on to say, no matter what stage it is, aprarabdha palam paptam, if it's aprarabdha or prarabdha, kuta, bija, all of these, Vishnu Bhakti Ratatmanam. If one's engaged in Vishnu Bhakti, then all these forms of karma are being destroyed. Sometimes, and it mentions kramainaiva, means step by step they're being destroyed. Sometimes the question arises, which is destroyed first, the prarabdha or the aprarabdha? Means the fully manifest karma is first or the very subtle karma is first. And in his commentary to this section of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Jiva Goswami says that just as when a person's making a garland out of the flowers from a lotus leaf, any of you done that recently? Yes? Today? This morning? You take a large stack of the lotus leaf petals and a long needle, and you pierce the petals with the needle and you draw it all the way through. Is this a correct, accurate description? Correct. So one may say it started from one side and went to the other. However, Jiva Goswami says that's academic because practically speaking, they're simultaneously pierced when you push it through. the effect is the same. It goes through all of them. So it hardly matters whether prarabdha or aprarabdha is affected first. But because of the power, Vishnu Bhakti Ratatmanam of Vishnu, the prarabdha is burned up. And Shukadeva Goswami mentions the same thing in the Srimad Bhagavatam, saying that it doesn't matter how deeply engrossed in karma you are, for he mentions people who are acutely impious. When he gives a list of people, Hirata Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha Bira Shumba Yavana Kasadaya Yene Chapapa Yarapashrayashraya Shujanti Tasmai Pravishnavi Namaha. He lists people from who are from notorious cultures that are notorious for being very sinful. Very far outside the Varnashram system, which is regulated in order to help uplift somebody. These cultures, on the other hand, engage in grossly sinful activities. And after listing them, he says, yes, all of these people can easily become purified also. How? Because of the power of Lord Vishnu that comes especially through his devotees. So the power of the holy names and of Krishna is manifest in the Krishna consciousness movement. And even though it seems as though the world is in retrograde state, well, it doesn't seem, it is. But the as mentioned earlier, the panacea comes from a level of consciousness that is beyond the closed system of the universe. There's a closed system in this universe, and the same information is recycled again and again. However, the Sankirtan movement and Krishna come from a realm outside of this closed system and introduce the vibration, which purifies one of the binding seeds of karma that hold one in this material world. And to prove this, we are now going to have several hours of non-stop Harinam Sankirtan right here in this little temple room. And we're going to bring in some special kirtaniyas that are going to sing for you, starting in 30 seconds. In fact, they're lining up as we speak. And they'll chant from now all the way until 4:30, 2.5 hours of special kirtan. So after that, there'll be hearing and chanting, more of the same, all the way until 12 o'clock midnight, where there's a grand arti. At 6:30, 8:30 to 10:30? 8:30 to 10, there's an abhishek. From 8:30 till 10 o'clock, there's an abhishek. And after that, there'll be more kirtan and more hearing and chanting. And then a grand artik at 12 o'clock midnight. And then we'll start all over again after that. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you in a few minutes. Hare Krishna.